Hey guys, CB Warrior here, bringing another video with Legend League's attacks, and as you guys can see, I am running dragons. Um, and the reason why I'm doing this video and I'm running dragons is because I've just been noticing a lack of consistency in being able to get 3 or high percentage 2 stars doing ground attacks. I've just been finding it harder and harder to be consistent on the ground, and that's because you get a lot of people switching over to ground expos and skellies that are all on ground, and it's just making like minor attacks or even hog attacks just that much more difficult. And I'm not the best attacker. I'm not bad. I like breaking down a base, and I do decent, and I get 3 stars often enough to stay decently high in Legend Leagues, but definitely not a top tier, guys. Um, and because of that, I can't overcome using the ground attacks, um, a lack of understanding or a lack of being able to plan. And in Legend Leagues, you can't really plan. Um, you just have your 30 seconds. And one of the things I've been trying to do is use my full 30 seconds in my Legend League attacks. And I've noticed that it's made a more of a difference. I'm not panicking. I'm not just thinking about, okay, the first thing, and then, okay, well, I did the first thing, and, well, I screw up my funnel because I didn't think about the first, second, and third thing I need to do. So I'm really trying to plan of, like, be decisive about what's the first thing I'm going to do, and then what do I need to do to make that first thing work. Um, and I think that's increased my hit rates and how I've done. Um, I still make mistakes and I still do stupid things, as you'll see. I'm going to show you guys the 4 attacks I've done so far today, and I'm going to do a live attack with these dragons. I might end up stopping my dialogue while I make my uh, attack, and just because it's when you're concentrating, you're trying to do things, it's kind of hard to talk your way through it. I don't know how some of these other guys who do YouTube videos on these on their attacks do it. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I've done so far today. And as you can see, my defense, guys, minus 222. I gave up way more trophies than I normally do. This is a more normal day. It was yesterday, minus 174. I usually end up being somewhere between 190 and 160 trophies of what I lose a day. And it's, like that's pretty normal. So 222 is definitely high. But as you can see, I started out the day super well. And we're going to look at all 4 of these attacks. I'm going to kind of break them down a little bit, show you how dragons are working and working well, and then what 3 simple changes I could have made on that last one that would have made a world of difference. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into some of these attacks. So we're going to start out with this first 3-star. And as you guys can see, this is a typical ring base. You see these things all the time in Legend League. But I actually come in, before I get going here, I come in with my queen from the top. And my thought is I can get the royal champ, I can get the air defense, and I was looking at the pathing of it, and I noticed that there's some gaps here that will allow her to path more likely down this direction to where she's going to get the eagle and the queen, and that's exactly what she does. And as she continues to walk around, there's no infernos in range. She's going to get that second air defense. So she's going to grab 2 air defenses, the royal champ and the queen and the eagle. Guys, that's just like, that's a lot of bang for your buck. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my king, and I'm going to let him walk down this outside. And what ends up happening with that is the king, sorry guys, just drew in the middle of the thing there. The king is down here, the enemy, and the CC. And my king, as he works his way down, is going to confront them right there. And it's a witch CC, and I believe some other random P.E.K.K.A. Ice Golem and a witch, I think. Or it might have just been a P.E.K.K.A. and an Ice Golem. I'm going to drop my poison there, kill it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send my Royal Champ and Stone Slammer into this area right here. So with the king distracting, those two are going to come in behind and take out that area right there. That area right there. And that's just going to leave, guys, as you can already see, a great little area for my dragons to go right into the town hall. And that's exactly what ends up happening, is they just drop them and they go right for the Inferno. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up using freeze spells on this backside. The first one I misplace, and the sweeper just pushes them back. But I'm going to use 2 rages on the dragons, going through the core here, freezing things up as they go, use the Grand Warden ability, all through that. And they're just going to go ahead and wipe everything out and meet up on the last air defense right down here on the south. But guys, this is what you're looking for. That's a lot of value for a queen. And had the queen not pathed down, it would have been very easy for me to just kind of send in my king through the opening up here that I create, and he would have worked his way down to take out the queen and the eagle and all of that. And then I could have send the Royal Champion behind to get this other air defense. Now, that would have left that air defense still, and the queen might have gotten in range of that single target, or it kind of would have been tough. I would have ended up having to freeze it maybe once, but she would have still gotten that second air defense, just not quite as much value. And then the CC would be on the backside, which with the CC that was in it, it wouldn't have hurt anything. Actually, it would have been better had I not actually gotten into range of it. But it all worked out in the end. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let this go. But this is something what you want to do with these bases and with dragons in general is just to make sure to create a nice narrow funnel for them to go down. And with this base, I was able to do that very, very well. Send a test wall breaker, send a second one. My queen kind of gets distracted there, and I send in the rest. But that gap on the left, as you can see, guys, is why she's going to move to the right, like I said earlier. And she's just going to kind of work her way down. Now, right here, guys, I'm going to send this loon in, and the loon's to see to look for Seeking Air Mines. I dropped that freeze just because I got an Expo and that queen hitting her. I just want to make sure that she survives, so I go ahead and use a freeze. Sure enough, the Coco Loon does pull a Sam, and she's going to just kind of continue to work her way down to lose a injured healer to that second Sam, but that doesn't really hurt me too much. Queen is going to pop her ability. I don't want to use any more rages. I'm trying to save them for my dragon, but I'm trying to make sure that she gets that second air defense. But she's now out of range of that ground expo, so she should be able to continue on without any more issues. King comes down, guys. Meant to send the Royal Champ and the Stone Slammer a little bit earlier, but I got distracted, as what often happens in these attacks. Stone Slammer is going to come down. The dragons take out that third air defense. Now there's just the one down here to the south. I'm going to trigger the Royal Champ ability right here before she gets hit by that king. Almost no defenses left, guys. Look where it is. They're going to go straight to the core. Drop that first freeze to freeze the town hall, and now I'm going to hit the backside in the town hall and that backside Inferno. I'm going to drop that second rage, get the Grand Warden ability through that Sam, and one last freeze on that single target and that scatter shot just to make sure that my dragon is going through to the other side. That last air defense doesn't stand a chance. I still got, 7 dragons up. 3 of them go right to it, and that's going to end up being a 3-star, as the dragons have plenty of time to clean up. Alright, now we're going to look at the second 3-star I had today. And it's going to be something a little bit different here. It's not a ring base, guys, but you can kind of see where the fault is in this one. So there's kind of two ways you can attack this. You can kind of come in and look to get a queen charge into this section where the air defenses are. Sorry, that was a bad circle. And that's kind of what I was looking at doing. There are only multis up around the town hall up here. So a queen charge is possible into there, and you could get the CC in the town hall as well as the queen. The problem I was seeing with that is that that's so much damage between those two expos, the two scatter shots, the queen, the CC. I just didn't like how that was set up, and I didn't want to come at it from this direction. I just thought that I was walking right into problems. So what I decided to do is I was going to wall break my queen into this section because these compartments give me access to the eagle and two air defenses. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my royal champ on the back side, and she's going to come in and take out these other two defenses as well as the rest of the defenses on this side. So the bottom side is completely taken care of. And what does that do? That leaves this nice box up here for my dragons to path down. I also drop my king, and my king takes all of this out as well, and that also keeps my queen going in to the base instead of walking back around out the outside. So I then drop my dragons in from this direction, and Stone Slammer with them and Grand Warden, and they're just going to path their way straight in, freezing and raging as necessary as they go. And since the sweepers are pointing the other two directions, it's not really going to be much of an issue, because by that point in time my queen will have worked into that one air sweeper that's pointing over the town hall, that one right there, and it's going to be a non-issue. And the dragons are just kind of work their way through. I'm going to freeze the queen. I'm going to freeze the scatter shots and the expos as I need. Poison as well if I need. But the queen ends up taking that out, so that ends up not being an issue at all. So again, guys, just looking to create as narrow a path for your dragons as possible. And then just letting them do work, freezing and raging as you need to. And one of the things, guys, I'm bringing 4 freezes and 4 rages. That leaves about 2 rages for your queen, 2 rages for your dragons. And you can use your freezes however you want. If you end up using 3 rages on your queen, then maybe try to save as many of your freezes for your dragons as you possibly can. Just try to make sure that you're leaving enough spell power for your dragons. You don't want to leave them high and dry. So as you can see, I already got my king down. He's created that funnel. My queen's going to go into the base. Baby drag cleared the funnel on the other side. And this is what I was saying, guys, about making sure to plan that funnel. So I was like, all right, I want my queen to go in here. So that means my king has to go here, and I need him to path up the side. And I need to get my queen to make sure she goes in. And that's what I did there. So dropping that Coco Loon just to check for Seeking Air Mines. Unfortunately, it didn't path into the base, and there's the Seeking Air Mine. CC comes out. I'm going to have to drop another Rage. So I've already used 2 Rages on my Queen. But at this point in time, guys, you can see that little funnel that I was talking about. And I dropped all my dragons at this top side because I wanted them to stay as into the base as I possibly can. And I'm going to drop my Stone Slammer right behind them just to kind of like reinforce that middle as some of the dragons finish pathing and going after that king. Queen's already taken off both air sweepers, pulling out the ground skellies. Unfortunately getting hit. The healer's getting hit by that air defense. But it's okay. The queen's already gotten more than enough value. Rage comes down, Grand Warden ability. And like I said, I'm just freezing that top side as I need. Grand Warden, Royal Champ, comes down. Going to use her ability. She's going to get through that last air defense, last cannon, that expo, and that wizard tower. She's going to clutch that whole bottom side. you guys can see I got a crap ton of dragons still up, Grand Warden's still up, Queen's still up. Royal Champ is going to actually die to the splash damage from this bomb tower, unfortunately. But plenty of left up for cleanup, and I still had plenty of time. So get the next 3-star. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys a time fail here, and guys, gotta hate time fails, especially when there's no defenses left, and that's exactly what happened on this. And this is why I dropped one of my loons. Again, ring base, and it's big, strong core. So I'm going to try to get my dragons, create a funnel, so that way they can go straight into the core. Leave a trail of breadcrumbs, so to speak, into the core. So that way the dragons go ahead and follow them in. Again, trying to use all of my time, but try not to go over the time. So I'm going to come right in at that CC. I was kind of curious to see what it was, and kind of wish now I had avoided it. But I was also concerned about the multi-infernos. So the reason why I came in on this side is that the multi-infernos are all on the other side. So I'm wanting my queen to come in here and then go down this direction. And on this one, I'm not as concerned if she dies a little bit earlier on this. But I'm basically just trying to get my queen to avoid the multi-infernos in the middle. I actually think she ends up going this way. I'm trying to remember exactly. We'll see here in a second. But king's down. He's going to take out the enemy king. And I just did that to kind of clean up some of the trash buildings on this bottom side. I think I probably could have gotten more use out of him and been better. Yeah, my queen does go up. I think I was planning on having her come down, and I was going to use my king and drop the royal champ behind, and then I was like, oh, I want to see where the queen actually goes before I drop my royal champion, because I don't want to put my royal champ in front of my queen and then have another air D left up. So right now I'm trying to the queen gets that back side and that air defense down by the warden. I don't think she quite gets there. But I'm trying to get that third air defense down just like I did in that first one. So I freeze the queen, that first scatter shot. I popped the Grand Warden ability early here, guys. And the reason why I'm doing that is I had Eagle coming down, Town Hall, 2 multis, and a scatter. And it lasts just long enough. I'd love to say that I knew that that was going to work perfectly. I did not. Again, I'm not good of an attacker. But right here, you can already see the problem is I got an army camp and a gold mine in that top corner and nothing to get it. So this ends up being a time fail because I can't get to those two. So this is why I dropped that loon. Because at this point in time, I could have just dropped a minion and I'd have plenty of time. But they get everything cleaned up, no defenses left. I do kind of get a decent split here, and the dragons go off to the right here. But still left those 3 buildings up. Cleanup is always important, guys. Always be paying attention to it. Always bring troops for it. So now the last one I'm going to look at before doing a live attack is this fail. And what I'm going to say right now, guys, is looking at this base, I was thinking, wow, I could get major value down here in the south. I'm looking down at the south there, and I'm seeing that I can get the Royal Champ, the Inferno, Eagle, Queen, Scattershot, and all I have to do is get into that first wall break, and I'm looking and I'm seeing 2 ground expos there, and I'm seeing 2 more ground expos, there, and there. And I'm saying, oh, maybe this isn't a good idea. And guys, I should have stopped myself and said, oh, maybe that's not a good idea. Because those ground expos just pound the crap out of my queen. Ended up killing her. So really what I should have done is, and this is, I was even thinking about it, sorry about that, low battery, was come in this direction. I would have gotten this air defense there, and then have my king and royal champ come in that direction. Again, getting that air defense. Guys, what does that do? It leaves a nice path down the middle for my dragons. And I wouldn't have had to even delay dropping them. I could have dropped them almost as soon as I had these buildings down on either side. Once I had these buildings down, drop the dragons, and they would have passed straight through to the middle. Royal Champ would have been able to get this down and forced the dragons, kept them in. Queen would have taken these buildings down and again forced them in. And the dragons would have just continued in right to that town hall. Simple little change, doing something like that would have helped. Again, ground expos aren't going to hurt those dragons. So instead, I fall right into that trap. I come in through the south, and that's why I failed. And what I should have also done is then saved the Stone Slammer for the town hall, or even better yet, switched over to a blimp and just brought it straight in for that town hall at the end. When I saw it wasn't going well for my queen and she was just under too much stress. And that would have probably been close to getting me that 3-star. And I could have delayed using that blimp or Stone Slammer and then try to hit one of these two air defenses after seeing how my dragons moved. The queen probably would have been able to get down to this one, but probably would have died between those that ground expo, the multi, the scatter, and the queen. She probably would have ended up dying, but might have been able to get these two before eventually dying. And then that would have left the Stone Slammer for that one. And I've accounted for all 4 air defenses. And again, dragons would have been able to just work their way south. The Royal Champ might have been a problem, but again, save a freeze for her, and that's a non-issue. So if I had to do this attack over again, that's what I would have done. So guys, look out for traps. This guy definitely wanted me coming from the south, and I abided. I went with it. So try to see what the person's wanting you to do and do the opposite. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this, and you guys will see how I fail. So queen's going to come in from the bottom, and I do get the first wall break in, guys. Now, I should have saved one of my wall breakers to get into the second one. That would have gotten me into those ground expos, and I who knows, she might have been able to survive through all of this. I got the queen down. I'm going to get that air defense up there, but she's just eaten through 2 rages already. I don't want to use any more than I have to, so I'm going to end up popping her ability here, but she's already down. Royal Champ got targeted by the king instead of my king, unfortunately. So I've gotten 2 air defenses down, and I have a path kind of into the middle, and I'm going to take my dragon straight in, but they're going to end up pathing onto that king and moving off to the left, which is really unfortunate. And I try to use the Stone Slammer to kind of push them into the pace, and it just doesn't quite work. And again, I used too many rages on my queen. And that's what I was saying, guys. You want to make sure that you save enough rages for your queen. Freezes have already been used to try to save my queen. And I just don't have enough firepower to get through this core. There is a witch there as well. I'm not going to get her down. Just missed that town hall. So that's how I messed up, guys. It's good to look at fails just as much as the successes. I think that's how you learn. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get another attack in. because I really don't have enough time anymore. I'm going to struggle to get all 4 of these in tonight. So here we go. Let's going on in for an attack. Okay, so we have actually, this is kind of an easy pathing base. Got a single target Inferno there at the top. Those singles are going to be a problem for my queen charge. Okay, so I'm going to try to have my queen come over on the left, and then my king's going to come in over on the right. So we're going to drop her there. We're going to put a baby dragon there. Going to have to rage her out. I'm going to drop him there. So you're going to path the way I want him to. One more rage for my queen, just to get her through. King ability. Alright, we're going to come dragons in from the top here. And queen's not in any trouble down there right now. I'm going to drop a rage for these dragons. Drop the poison on that queen. Oh, come on, Town Hall, go down. There we go. Alright. So Town Hall is down. But I think that's about all I'm going to get on this base. I'm not looking too good. Drop some of those cleanup troops. Come on, queen. Get down. She's going to die. Yep. I'm going to pick up some more percentage here. King ended up going not quite the way I wanted. I probably should have dropped him right over here on that gold mine, and he would have pathed a little bit better. Dropping the Royal Champ right behind might have also been helpful. Would have taken out that other air defense. But dragons pathed fairly well. They definitely wanted me to come in from the start, and then I was looking at the ground expos down there, as well as the 2 single target Infernos. That's a pretty tough base for dragons, even with all ground expos. Alright, well, 60% almost. Not exactly what you're looking for. You definitely want something more in 80s. But there you go, guys. Hope this has been a helpful video. Dragons are pretty good right now. I've been having fairly good success with them, especially against those ring bases. So have a good night, guys, and we'll see you next time.